The first one,
The
obviously.
first one.
Like, it's not good when we only have 30 minutes to research something and then you go on air as a knowledgeable expert of the subject, but you really have to spend 3 days on
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah, it's not good. And like, I kind of am able to get away with it because like I know a lot because I've been covering like kind of one topic for a long time. So like, it's pretty quick to have little facts that I
Yeah.
already have in my back pocket. But
Yeah.
like, if it's like a brand new bill that I've never read before, that's never been filed before, I'm like sitting there reading through the whole thing, like calling people and asking like, what is this like?
Yeah. Or they put you on a cake course. There's one happening today in Clay County, actually, the bartender.
Oh, the court cases are worse.
And it's
They're
like,
like, they'll send you like 2 stories about it. Like they were done. They're like, this you got everything
Figured
figured
it
out.
out.
I'm like,
right, this happened in 2014. Why do these people want to do this?
yeah, I have no idea who the reporter was that
Right,
originally
like,
wrote this and whether or not I should trust what they
Probably
wrote is
not
true.
at RC.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like somebody who's been gone for 4 years that I like.
we could just summarize and do that.
You start saying.
Yeah.
I hate that. My least favorite word.
It's this process that there's actually no news here. Talk about how you present an email. That'll excite the viewers.
Make sure to get nasty.
Yeah, or these videos of knocking on the door. Or walking up and down the hall.
You did constructed a set on your phone and ate cheeseburgers with the other hand. That's what I did this morning.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, no, no. I'm always like, they'll just slide right off.
They'll just slide off,
That's
yeah.
kind of my
I
thing
just
now.
jam
I
it.
keep it hung up.
Oh, you mean?
We don't even have.
I was about to say, you're on your tippy toes.
Honestly, any of our tripods have to be
You like move up or like roll forward down and like fall off?
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
Charlie NG5.
Is everybody all set up and ready to go? Okay.
They're starting.
Are you all set up? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He's ready, so Sheriff will go ahead.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Michelle Cook from the Clay County Sheriff's Office. And I just wanted to update you on a deputy-involved shooting that we had late this morning. At approximately 10:40 this morning, we received at least 2 separate notifications regarding an individual who may have been suffering a mental health crisis. At that time, our deputies began looking for her. We entered her vehicle information into our license plate reader system, and we received a hit on her vehicle traveling from the Oakleaf area towards Middleburg. At that point, deputies saturated the area, and one of our sergeants actually got behind her vehicle. She began to drive recklessly, including driving into oncoming traffic and running a red light. After a short pursuit, the person involved ended up at 3601 Old Jennings Road, which is a local cemetery here, with a sergeant behind her. The person pulled over, she pulled over in the cemetery, and our sergeant began immediately trying to talk to her and to de-escalate the situation and calm her down. At least 2 more deputies were in the area rather quickly behind her, and again, they immediately and continued to talk to her. Come to find out that one of our responding deputies is a personal friend of the lady involved and attempted for quite a while to de-escalate. At some point during the conversation, she told the deputies that were on scene that she had a weapon, that she had a gun, and she began drinking alcohol from inside of her vehicle, what appeared to be a large clear bottle of alcohol. At one point during these negotiations, she fired a round inside the vehicle, and at another short time later, it fired at least 1 round towards our deputies. The deputies on scene summoned negotiators and SWAT team, and were waiting for their arrival, again continuing efforts to de-escalate. The deputy that knows her was talking to her again and asked her if there was anything that they could do to get her to surrender, and she made some indication that she would like a pack of cigarettes. She'd like a cigarette. So they, using a shield, a ballistic shield, they approached her vehicle and dropped off a pack of cigarettes. When she got out of the vehicle to reach for the cigarettes, our deputies used a less lethal weapon on her and were able to tackle her and take her into custody. It is important to note at the point that she fired the shot at our deputies, we did return fire, and we do believe that we hit her. At this point, it also is important to know we believe we have at least 3 deputies that were involved in the shooting. During this incident, the supervisors on scene had already summoned Clay County Fire Rescue, who were staged nearby. So as soon as she was taken into custody, Clay County Fire Rescue began treating her, and she was transported to HCA Orange Park Hospital. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has been called in, as well as the state attorney's office. At this time, we have no deputies that have sustained any injuries. 1 person that has been transported to the hospital with what appears to be a gunshot wound.
So do you guys know for sure whether it was the deputies that hit her with the return fire, or whether you mentioned that she had fired the gun in her vehicle, whether that may have been a self-inflicted wound?
That's a great question. We don't know the answer to that. That is going to be part of the investigative process, the evidence gathering process with FDLE on scene.
And the nature of the wounds, life-threatening, critical?
Non-life-threatening at this time.
Okay. Anything about the suspect's identity, or maybe what she had been going through that led to this sort of mental situation?
We've heard a lot of information. We have not been able to validate it. We're still very early into this investigation. We are not even sure that all the family has been notified at this time, so we're going to hold off on identification until we can ensure that the family has been notified. But at this point, a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor, but the investigation will lead us to that answer.
You said one of the deputies knew this person, on a personal level. What was the nature of that relationship? A friendship, or?
A friendship, family friendship. Yes, sir.
Just to reiterate, so she shot inside
Yes.
returned fire?
Yes, ma'am.
How many shots did they do?
We don't know that yet. No, ma'am.
And
We,
then as far
well,
as-
we believe 3 deputies returned fire, but we do not know at this point how many shots were fired in total.
Thank you, Sheriff. And as far as those non-lethal methods, can you tell us a little bit more about what methods were used? Was it a stun gun, the beanbag?
Beanbag round. Yes, ma'am.
Any charges against the women?
The question is there any charges? That's still early on in this. That'll come out as part of the investigation.
Do you know if this woman's been Baker acted or anything like that? If there's going to be, or if it's going to be like an arrest?
Well, I don't know. We don't know yet. So we have to, part of the investigative process is to determine her motivation, her intent. Obviously, this is a very serious case, and so whatever's most appropriate is the pathway that we'll go down.
There's no indication that anybody else was hurt by the gunfire, either from her or from the deputies when there was that exchange?
No, sir. The exchange of gunfire actually occurred inside of a cemetery, and so there was nobody else in the area except for the deputies and the lady involved.
Would that be the cemetery behind you?
No, sir. It's going to be the cemetery across the street, about a quarter mile from here.
I know it's early in the investigation. Has Clay County had any other issues with this particular person previously? Or?
As far as issues, I mean, not that I'm aware of specifically issues with her mental health status, no, sir. But again, we just got here, sort of thing. So we're still going to have to investigate our history with her and get that information.
Okay, last question.
As the officer that knew this person doing after all this, I would imagine that's a pretty unfortunate situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, he's talking to a friend, and a friend has fired a gunshot towards him and his, other deputies that are on scene. And it is, that's Clay County. We are still, a small town in many ways, and we know a lot of the people we interact with. And, I think he is pretty shook up, but he's there to do his job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if we've met before, but Jake Stofan with Action News Jax. My family grew up in Clay County, and I think my parents are big fans of yours.
Who are your parents?
The Stofans.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Stofan?
Yeah. Julie and John.
Okay, okay.
They hang out at the golf